Okay, today, everybody, we're going to go over the Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny reviews. Now, I'll tell you right from the start, Indiana Jones is one of my favorite. It may be my favorite trilogy. I know Lord of the Rings is usually the number one for everybody, but Indiana Jones, I just loved Indiana Jones growing up. I had an uncle who they didn't have cable TV, they didn't watch TV, but he had a VCR and he had all three Indiana Jones movies, and that's all he watched. And that's not a bad choice. If that's all you're gonna watch, if you have to pick three movies, those are pretty good movies. Now the fourth movie was just not good. I mean, I can see how some people might like it. I was not a big fan of it. I kind of walked out of there going, that was a movie made for people that aren't very smart, that aren't going to look into it very much. And I also walked out of there thinking Indiana Jones is way too old at this point to be doing a movie, as Indiana Jones, unless he's going to play like the role Sean Connery, his dad, Henry Jones Sr., played in the first or in the third movie. But maybe I could be swayed, but let's go ahead and watch these reviews. It's spoiler alert, it's not looking great. So let's go. We're going to go on here to GameStop. Here's an article by Eddie Makutch. So now remember, this movie has Harrison Ford. It's going to have his goddaughter, who's going to be played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I'm never been a big fan of her in movies. I feel like a lot of times she's kind of brought in to add the feminist spin on some of these movies. To kind of make the girl boss type situation, which could be okay, but it always seems like these girls come out and the women in these movies are made to have absolutely no flaws. Now, we may find out differently here. Mads Mikkelsen he's awesome. He plays a great bad guy. I hope they don't use him incorrectly. We have Antonio Banderas in here, and I love Antonio Banderas. I love John Rhys Davies. Toby Jones is always good. Thomas Kirschman. I don't know who Oliver Richards is. But we're going to go through here and run through a couple of these scores and read them and then discuss them. Variety gave it no score. They said Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is dutifully eager but ultimately rather joyless piece of nostalgic hokum. Now, the thing is, if the mainstream media type review outlets are giving it bad scores, some people might look at it and go, oh, maybe it really is a good movie, because the Rotten Tomatoes scores from the actual real people versus the reviewers are often switched. I'm not sure that means that in this situation. IndieWire gave it a C. Said not only is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny an almost complete waste of time, it's also a belabored reminder that some relics are better left where and when they belong. If only any previous entries in this series had taken great pains to point that out. Empire gave it a 4 out of 5. This is the high review of this. Said Indy's final date with Destiny has a barmy finale that might divide audiences. But if you join him for the ride, it feels like a fitting goodbye to cinema's favorite grave robber. From what I've heard so far, spoiler-wise, I'm not going to get into them, but it didn't sound like a great goodbye to him to me. But, I guess we'll find out. BBC gave it a 2 out of 5. The jokes, the zest, and the exuberance just aren't there. So instead of a joyous send-off for our beloved hero, we get a depressing reminder of how much livelier his past adventures were. Wow, that's not good coming from the BBC. The Guardian gave it a 3 out of 5. It's the first Indiana Jones film to not be directed by Steven Spielberg. James Mangold is now at the helm, but despite that, this one has quite a bit of zip and fun, narrative ingenuity with all its MacGuffin-y silliness, and the last one, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, really didn't. I would agree with that. I would say that Steven Spielberg not coming back is just a really bad sign. Deadline, no score. They said it's fun, it's wacky, it works. I don't know what Alexandrine mathematical codes are. I don't either. I don't have a clue whether a time fisher is a real thing. It doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter, except for Nazis. They still matter. To quote a certain archaeological adventurer, I really don't like those guys. Okay. So far, the reviews just, I would have expected these reviews were amazing, kind of like the Little Mermaid reviews or something like that. I've got a few more reviews pulled up here on Vulture. So this one says, the damn thing is fun. Mangold may not have the young Spielberg's musical flair for extravagant action choreography, but he is a tougher, leaner director with using a tighter frame and keeping his camera close. This may shortchange the escapist atmosphere and evocative exotica of the material, which is, after all, one of the pleasures of Indiana Jones movies, but it does bring a ground-level immediacy to the action. That was Bilge Beery from Vulture. Let's see here. Esther Zuckerman from the Daily Beast said, I'm not sure I trust the Daily Beast there, but let's see. Mostly, the Dial of Destiny is just serviceable, doing everything exactly as well as it needs to and nothing more. Though Mangold is a talented director known for the likes of Logan and Ford vs. Ferrari, he's also no Steven Spielberg. The compositions are clean and well done, but nothing special. Make fun of the Kingdom Skull all you want, but at least it's trying something. That really doesn't sound good. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is a dutifully eager but ultimately rather joyless piece of nostalgic hokum. It's the fifth installment of the Indiana Jones franchise, and though it has a quota of relentless action, it rarely tries to match, let alone top, the ingeniously staged kinetic bravura of Raiders of the Lost Ark. How could it? That was Owen Gleiberman of Variety. The film just about gets a passing grade for not going too heavy on the nostalgia porn fan service. There are a couple of old faces and a few new ones, but in true adventure serial fashion, there is a satisfying focus on plot and moving things forward as quickly as possible to the next big action set piece. David Jenkins of Little White Lies. We'll read a couple more here. This is a big bombastic movie that goes through the motions but never finds much joy in the process. Despite John Williams' hard-working score continuously pushing our nostalgia buttons and trying to convince us we're on a wild ride, Indy ignores the inevitable jokes about his age and proves he can still handle himself in a tight spot. But Ford often seems disengaged, as if he's weighing up whether this will restore the tarnished luster to his iconic action hero or reveal that he's past his expiration date. Both actor and audience get a raw deal with this empty exercise in brand redemption. That was David Rooney of the Hollywood Reporter. We've seen what BBC said earlier. Let's read the Collider. The most thrilling aspect of Dial of Destiny is its action sequences. The film kicks off at the end of World War II in a de-aged flashback to a younger Indy finding the Nazis on a speeding train, and then shows that even after decades of adventuring, Indy still got it when we jump to 1969. Whether it's on a horse or behind the wheel of a tuk-tuk, Ford still shows he's still a compelling action star. The action set pieces of Dial of Destiny are sprawling, but be it on land, sea, or in the air, Director James Mangold never holds back on the fun of these scenes. And I'm sure there are quite a bit of action set pieces. You know, lately it seems like Indiana Jones gets injured on every single movie set he's on, but I just think he's probably too old at this point to do that. He's too old to do a lot of his stunts. Though I still like him as an actor, I think he's great. I think there comes a time when it's time to switch over to a different type role in the movie. I'm not quite sure about Phoebe Waller-Bridge being the main star going forward, because I assume that's where they're wanting to go with this. You know, kind of have a woman take over. That's kind of the normal thing we do now, and that would be fine. I'm just not quite sure she's the one. She doesn't have the charisma or anything to be the one to take over. You know, the other thing is, too, I have a feeling they're going to try to bring Indiana Jones down to bump her up, and so that to me is never the greatest thing to do. And the other thing that I'm a little worried about lately, I've noticed that anytime we have a movie that is back in the time, it can be back in the '60s, it can be back in the 1800s, it can be back in the year 300. It seems like we want to make these people talk like we do today. Because back in the 1800s, people weren't saying, "Hey, dude, what's going on, man?" They didn't talk like that, and it seems like that's how all these. And I don't know if it's the writers, if it's the directors, what happens here, but it seems like we always want everybody to talk like they do today back then, and that's just, it takes the believability out of it, and it kind of, to me, takes me out of the movie. It kind of takes the whole escapism out of the movie to me. But I'll probably go see it. I'm going to walk in with low expectations, and hopefully it'll be good. But if 4 was any judge, I don't think I'm going to like it. So I have a feeling after this is over, unless I find something completely different, I'm just going to consider that there's 3 Indiana Jones, and that's the best trilogy of all time. So I don't have anything else. If you guys like this video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That would really help. And I'll have videos coming out about 4 or 5 a week. You can also find me over on TikTok under Crodine as well. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.